Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're doing a little bit more stuff on Cinera. What we're doing today is full privacy checks and config printing. So I can show you the print config first of all. Maybe we could just print it right here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll print it and then make it sleep, so I can actually quit, and then you can see what we're doing. Don't power off. That's not what I want to do. Right. Hang on a minute. Is somebody printing? Yeah, somebody is printing. So, right. So it passes the config and prints. Right. So, let me just go back to where I was and just... don't do that either. So yeah, it's going to print and then it's going to sleep. So I can quit. Right. So this is the printout of the config at the moment. I suggest that this isn't very pretty, basically. We've got some kind of global things here that apply to the entire configuration. Then we've got some people here. And then we've got some projects. So we've got the risky project that has no title. We have its mediums. Like this doesn't really say that it's a medium, it just sort of says authored. This is the text for this medium, this is the icon, and it's not a hidden medium, which basically means that if you tag something with this medium, then I think it defaults to having that medium, that annotation or that time code toggled off, basically in the filter. So yeah, it's got all the mediums up there, and then default medium, then some project specific information here, down to about there, I reckon. And there's an update interval which I'm going to address, and then you've got the owner right here, annotator. I might change that annotator to read indexer, but whatever. So that's an entire project, and I suggest it's not very pretty to look at. So I'm going to, I think I will, now that I've looked at this, I am going to sort of redo the print config function, or do another version of it that sort of looks a bit more kind of presentable. It'd probably like nest the projects. You can sort of see here we've got 00 risky, we've got 00 risky again, a 00 risk. Now I think this is actually complete garbage actually, this number there. This should really be sort of saying what the project index is, so that's broken somehow. Yeah, that should be changing definitely. And basically, they should be changing in a way that sort of suggests, well, it straight up tells you that things are sort of nested within other things. So I'll just show you in the config as well, actually. So we've got this project here is what we're talking about here, probably. And then within this project, we've got this risky project. We've got this risk Alanius project. And we've got this book project. And within the book project, you've got the coad and the reader projects. So these guys are all nested within each other, but there's no sort of indication that they're nested in the printout. In the new printouts, I am going to sort of try and get some of that nesting represented. So that's the config side of it, config printing. The other bit is the full privacy checks. the privacy checking happens down here, and I sort of realised that this is insufficient. We're only looking at the current project here, but there's more than one project. So what we need to actually do is to actually go over all of the projects, checking all the privacy. So let's go for it. One variable that we set at the moment is for each project you can set the update interval. Now all that means is it's this value here somewhere. Yeah, it's this current project update interval or default update interval. That's simply how long to sleep after having. It's how long to sleep in the main loop, basically. I'm just going to say that isn't necessary. We don't need to set that at all. So I'm going to remove the update interval variable from the config. Just say that we don't need it. And just stick with the default update interval. I guess I'll call it the global update interval actually. Yeah, so it's there. This thing's good to go. So let's just get that from there. Put it back in Cinera and just stick it somewhere. I guess the global would be a place to put that. Yeah, I guess that would be a fine place. And also let's just default it to 1. So it's just going to sleep for 1 second, basically. Alright, so I'm going to remove this variable, aren't I? Remove the update interval variable. And additionally, what I think I'm going to do is, we've got this privacy thing. So currently the privacy, basically what this means is, video creators can use the publication status of their videos to control whether or not a video actually gets entered into the system, basically. So if they set it to private, it shouldn't get like a HTML file generated for it. But if they set it to public, then they will. And all we do at the moment is we just hard set the privacy check interval to 4 hours. I think I'm going to make that configurable, but I don't think I'm going to make it configurable per project. I'm just going to make it configurable at the top level, basically. So globally. So let's go to the type specs. It's basically the init type specs function, isn't it? So this is where we have all our types. So we need to first of all remove that type spec from the projects. This one here. Yeah, I want to remove this and put a new one into the root. So where are numbers? Some numbers there. There's ident update interval already there. So let's just say, call it the privacy check interval. And true means that it cascades, doesn't it? Does it mean that it's a singleton? So that means that you only allowed one of them in the thing. I think that's what it means. Isn't there something to do with cascading down though? Maybe stuff can just cascade down by default. We don't need to do anything special about that, I guess. And that's probably the case. Alright, so set defaults. So here we go. We want to do a root ident privacy check interval. And the default we are going to make a default privacy check interval. And we're going to say that this is going to be for hours basically. And also I was thinking about this, should we just say that it's you set it in minutes? I think that would be the more sensible way to do it actually. So let's just say that it's this. And then yes, you set it in minutes. And then when you actually when you actually process it in the config, in the resolve variables function, you actually convert it up to seconds, I guess, because that's what you actually want it to be in eventually. So here we go. Identical update interval. We need to change this to a privacy check. With a bit of luck, this should sort of start to error on us. So I did privacy check interval. Did I just not set that? Privacy check interval is right there, and it's saying ident update interval undeclared. Config C line 40. What? Sorry, line 807. Oh right, yeah, I need to save that file. That's what you do. So this is pushing a project, isn't it? Yeah. So you can't actually do this anymore. Yeah, it's basically here actually. It's when... Oh, this is print project, okay. It's not there. Alright, so that's cleaned up all the errors. What we now need to do is we've had a new variable. So it won't be in Tokenise, it'll probably in scope tokens. push int pair to the parent. Okay. Yeah, so I think it is just going to be in this resolve variables function. So let's go to the config and first of all actually add this value. Alright. So we've got a string, a uint, let's just stick it here. And oh, actually, let's say it's a time t actually, and privacy check interval. Oh, hang on. Are we just looping over the ints? Oh, sorry, the non-ints. Yeah, we are. So we can't do it there. We need to actually say a different loop. It's basically that. Yeah, it's not really resolving string, it's just simply, well, it's just this, isn't it? I suppose I should say seconds per minute. Yeah, I think that is it. So I've done that right. I think I've done that right. Case level over this switch statements. Yeah, that's the point, yeah. Invalid operands to binary that have ints and a config int pair. Oh, right. So what is this problem now? Alright. So let's go to the print config function. Oh, I'll tell you what, actually, we haven't done something important. It's in Cinera, isn't it? So this thing here, privacy check interval happens there, update interval is there. We need to actually say this. Need to make the marry up. Is that in the right place? It goes before the project, between player template and before project. Yeah. All right. So now print config. What does one mean? Don't mean the indentation. Yeah. Okay, so we should be defaulting to be setting that to 4 hours. And we're not setting it in the config itself. I think we should get an error in the config because we're setting the update interval. Yeah, perfect. Get a warning rather than an error. So the privacy check interval is set to 14,400. Alright, so 60 times 60 times 4 is 14,400, yeah. So we've got that right. Just go to the Cinera conf. And just nuke that. So now we can talk about this. Oh, is that right? If the time take away the last privacy check is greater than the privacy check interval, yeah, that is right. So that's given us the ability to configure that. We no longer have the idea of an update interval, so the current project update interval, that needs to be removed. This is garbage, this print usage. Or rather this default thingamajig printout. Yeah, I forgot to do that. Good job you spotted that. So now this should fail, shouldn't it? Because we don't have this update interval. Yeah, perfect. Oops. So sleep for the global update interval. Okay, I think that's fine. So we've now got the privacy check interval configurable. We've removed the configuration for the update interval, and we now need to change this thing to actually talk about looping over all of the projects. Basically, that's what we need to do. So recheck privacy needs to do a loop. If we have a current project and the current project, and we're not ignoring the privacy for the current project, I think we want to do something else here also. So push product on the config. What does push product itself take? It does take the config also. Perfect. So we have this idea of ignore privacy, basically. So I reckon what we should do is also track like whether we're respecting privacy at all, because it's quite possible that all of the projects are configured to ignore privacy, in which case we never need to bother sort of rechecking privacy. So I'm going to say we're going to add to the config struct boolean. We're going to say like respecting privacy. And when we push a project on, once we got to the end of pushing that project, we just say that the we or equals it with it's the opposite of pignor or privacy, basically. I hope that's right. Might just have to double check. Push privacy. Push project onto project. And push project onto, so they're both called push projects. Okay, fine. That's handy. So you just got the one place that does this actual setting. If we're ignoring privacy, that means that it's either yes or no. If we are ignoring privacy, so if it's yes, and then the opposite is no, we're not. But if we're not ignoring privacy, then the opposite is yes, we are ignoring the privacy. If ignore privacy is false, this equates to true. And if we do this or equaled with true, if this starts out as nothing and it can become true, then we're going to set it to be true. I think this is the correct way to do it. And when we do the free config, should also just mention this, when we do the free config, we actually free the whole thing. So a parse config initializes the results with this, and it initializes it does it as a calloc. So that is going to start off as nothing, as false. So it's not if current project, it's if if we're respecting the privacy and the current time, take away the last privacy check is greater than the privacy check interval, then we recheck privacy. So it's going to recheck privacy, and now we want to do a loop really. So let me just make this window bigger. If you want to say stuff, then you'll have to mention me, and I'll get a beep to tell me that you've said something. So yeah, I'm not ignoring you. We're doing a loop over everything, so print config does a loop. Yeah, we are talking about other projects, aren't we? Just want to see how this does it. Set current project. So that takes the neighborhoods. Takes the watch on it. Takes the project. So this project is a pointer to a project. So I think basically all you need to do is loop over all of the projects, set the current project, and then do whatever this is doing, I think, is all you need to do. So you don't actually need to do this necessarily, I don't think. The if db metadata file buffer. Because that will do that. Yeah, let's do that. So I mean, I guess you don't need to make it take config because it's global. Like nobody else is bothering to take it, so yeah, I won't make it. And when we do the recheck privacy, by the way, we will have the config, won't we? Oh, actually. Oh, yeah, we might not actually. Yeah, it's possible that won't actually be set at this point. If we've got config install, if we haven't, do that. Then, if we've got config, and config is in time, yeah. Yeah, so now when we do the recheck privacy, we will guarantee that we've got the config. So, let's say for int, y is equal to 0. It is, what was it? It was set the current project if the current project is not the thing. Well, hang on, it needs to do it recursively. Yeah, this thing goes on, does it? So we actually need to say the recheck privacy function has a thing, but we need to say this, and I think it needs to take those things, and it also needs to take a project. think I'm right in saying this. So it'll set the current project, then do all the stuff. And then it will then loop over its own children. Yeah, that's basically, I think. It wants the neighbourhood as well, didn't it? I think returning success is just garbage. So we don't do anything with that, so it's just not bothered. Is the DB motivated to file buffer size? That might be child count actually. You need to take a P in the neighbourhood. So implicit declaration, oh really? What is that wanted to do? Free file and init neighbourhood. Where's that? That's up at 7759 in Cinera.c. And we were talking about this guy at there. What's this function? Insert entry. So let's get back to there. I think we should just be able to stick that upwards, shouldn't we? Yeah, I think that's kind of right. So to test this, what is the lineage? Is it not string? Oh, it's print string. What is print pair though? Yeah, how do you do print per? Default medium. Oh, you have to set up a config per. Oh, right. Well, whatever. So with a bit of luck, we should see that now. I will just make it sleep, just so we can see that pop up. Right. Yeah, I don't need to do the thing. Unfortunately, that just does print that. Yeah, I think that's kind of all. So what's it doing? Monitoring file system for new edited and deleted data files. So that's just something that you have to do, isn't it? Risky, 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 risk, risky book card, risky book reader. Okay, so it's checked for the it's processed the whole thing. It's gone into monitor, and apparently it's tried to recheck the privacy straight away. I suppose that's fine. Oh, I guess another thing you might want to do also is say when it was last passed. We're only talking about the privacy check interval. If the time I suppose it doesn't really matter actually. Because basically what I'm sort of suggesting is so that you to just toggle on bitwise. When I resave it, it'll repass and re-initialize. But I don't think it will. Well, I don't think we'll see the recheck privacy recursively. Like when it gets back around to do the monitoring file system, I don't think we'll see these happening. Ah, perfect. So, 0 page, offset landmarks. $10,950. So if the new landmark index is greater than the old. So for the landmark count in its project in DB per Istanbul, it's a sync DB. Init all sync DB, insert project into DB tile level. Init project in DB per Istanbul. Locate the first landmark. So yeah, monitor file system calls init all on line 902. Yeah, so if we got a config, so discard all and free config, we pass the config, if config, we init all. Okay. So init all happens, it rewinds collection of it, inits the DB, syncs the DB, and then on line 111.549 it does insert for addition to DB top level. It does the yeah, the top level. Sorry, 11002. And then here it does init protein DB first sample. And online here it does offset landmarks. It's got the offset assets here. It's possible that the DB metadata signposts are not being cleared correctly. Yeah, let's have a look at that. The DB metadata signpost.edit.byte position. Yeah, I do think we just need to clear that thing. I mean, discard all. Free signposted file. This is what I'm talking about here. It should have zeroed them out. So it's possible that isn't the problem. Let's see if we can reproduce it first of all. Oh right, yeah, now that we've actually deleted all the database, it's actually got to check the privacy of everyone. Alright. So we got to here. In fact, let me run it again. Just so we're exactly the same state. We doesn't have to think, but it then rejects the privacy. And then we did this, and then we segbolted. Yeah, great. And happily, we also segfault in the. This is a non-debug build, so we can actually step in and see what's going on. Which is what I'll do after I've taken a 5-minute break. So I will be right back. On we go. Let me just pop in a ginger fruit thing. This is one of these, by the way. It's a warming ginger fruit drop. Is that showing up? It's one of them. So let us delete this, delete this. I suppose another thing we can do actually also is to ignore the privacy. So I don't actually need to bother to wait for it to check that. It's a bit old. And then we want to actually see GDB. Let's do it like this. So it's exactly the same. I think what I'll do is I'll just run until it crashes, and then I'll try and pop up the stack to see what's going on. So there's our back choice. Now I think at this point, I don't have the landmark, do I? No, I do. Oh. So I could look at, for example, the A, just to see if that looks anything resembling reasonable. And it does, the A looks okay. Entry index -1 is talking about the search page. So we're looking at project 00, which is risky. And entry index -1, which is the search page. So the new landmark, project index. So there's the landmark. So we're dereferencing the landmark. For some reason we're dereferencing that. Oh right, yeah, so that we can actually modify that if we need to. Aldac. Was it this that it was failing to... Yeah, interesting. So that does exist apparently. So Aldac should be initialized in here, shouldn't it? Or Alt G. So we're copying the accumulator from G. So that suggests, doesn't it, that that actually doesn't cut the mustard. Coffee accumulates. Where's G set? The accumulators here. So you initialize the accumulator in syncdb. And then as you sort of insert, you accumulate. Oops. So we're iterating through the assets, the asset landmarks, dereferencing each one, and we're seeing if the index of a landmark is greater than or equal to the entries in the generation or current generation. Now clearly OLDAC is actually something, isn't it? OLDAC itself is positioned here. The current generation is 0, the count is 0. I might like to step straight to this line and just see what these values ever are, basically. Tell you what I'll also see is if we comment out this, delete the database, delete the test, and run the program. Check the privacy. then close the program, and then let it pass bitwise in from the get-go. Does it still segfault? When it gets to here, let's see what old ACK entries in generation is. Well, let's just see what this is. So yeah, this will actually fail. So what are we talking about here? We've got a case where we've got the landmarks. The new landmark predicate index is going to be 0, isn't it? We don't know yet how many generations there are. Sorry, how many entries are in this generation? There's apparently 2 there, and this is 0. So I think this is kind of suggesting that you want to be incrementing this by 2. Now, would that be right? Oops. Generation 0, index 0. We want bitwise to end up being generation 0 and index 0. The line I'm talking about is 0, 0. Where's 1 and 220? So what we're talking about here, right? It's this page. So at 221 bytes into this page, there's going to be, it's going to be this basically. So this A will be 221 bytes into the file. Just to show that is the case. So 221 bytes in. Well, not exactly sure how you determine that. I mean, I assume that's right. So this is for risky, and what I'm suggesting is, since we've added bitwise to the config, we've actually sort of reshuffled the config around, or reshuffled the database around, such that bitwise resides before risky. Do we have this yet? We don't have that yet. Because that's probably what we're in the process of doing. Probably in the process of actually getting ready to add that file. just also see if we've done this file. Yeah, we have done that. So this file would have been dealt with in this loop up here. And then coming through here. So current generation count, engine generation. Entries in generation I is equal to the G entries in generation. Push generation. Because what I'm a bit unsure about here, if we go back down to the place where we're failing, it's the old ACK, isn't it? So if I just print that, we've got 0, 0, and this entries in generation is not set. We are inserting project into the top level. The old G. Yeah, I mean, I suppose actually at this point, when you're inserting this person, the accumulator will actually be a 0 because it's the first project of its generation to go in. And then having initted this project in DB recursively, you're taking the generations. We should probably do something with the G's. Add entry to generation, yeah. So having done this, we add an entry to the generation. And initialize it recursively. So if this is 0, I mean, if it is 0, can't you just assume that it is just like, if it's not set, then it would be right to treat it as 0. So where are we failing again? At 10.950. I'm just a bit worried that the new landmark product index is 2 at this point, isn't it? It's 0. Wasn't it 2 when we were crushing though? Zero, 0, yeah, that's right. So if it's greater than this will fail, won't it? Because we're trying to dereference this thing, which doesn't exist. I reckon what you do is get this set first of all. We're always going to have to new arc, aren't we? I think. So yeah, this value here, I think is what we want to save off first. See what it is actually. It's a U32 T. So if we've got this at all, then we take it from there, otherwise we just say it's 0. I think that's right. So that would prevent us from trying to dereference something that doesn't exist. Let's just see if that's helped at all. We're still generally harshly built it. I think I will actually also just prevent it from checking the person. So we just need to run it, and then we need to oh god, we need to actually load the new thing, don't we? Actually, what we first need to do. Hold on. Was it this line? No, it wasn't that line. It was 10:09:50. Let's just get ourselves to here. Alright, so now if we just let bitwise come into the mix, and we should find ourselves hit this line, I think. Yeah, so that's not set. OLDAC itself is positioned somewhere, right? The end using generation ain't set to anything. So we should be able to set that to 0. If the new landmark product index is greater than that, so what is that? The index is 0. So what we're saying is it's equal to it. So we need to increment this. I mean, we'll be able to see actually when we get to the F right what the new landmark is. So the new landmark is currently this. Right. And it's now this, which is right, actually. Index 1 is perfect. Because it knows we've added one person. Which is bitwise at the top level. Yeah, so that seems to have done it. Didn't we say to ignore the privacy checking? Didn't we say to do that? Ignore privacy true. Maybe I didn't save it. But then how did the bitwise get in? Oh shit. So something's done alright. Oh, I've done that wrong. Oh, right. Okay, so I don't actually handle this correctly. Wow. So I'd written it like this, and that caused it to crash. Shit. The tokenized function doesn't like that. The strings differ. Basically, we're going to be saying it's going to be trying to compare to the end of the file, isn't it? Yeah, right, so how do you handle this? We have got the B pointer. We don't have the B location of the B size. Strings differ S means sized, doesn't it? It's string lengthing that. Not terminated. What? Null terminated? Not terminated. Oh, right, okay. So we're trying to say the string length of the token strings. We're talking about the length of that. I guess just step into it and see what's going on. No harm in that, is there? Oh no, am I? Oh, there's no stack. Oh right, exited, right, fine. So, if we go to config.c, config.c, we go to line 563 here, and run. Is this the bit that crashes? No. I suppose I just keep running until we do crash. Another way to do it is to just see how many of these multi-line comments we have. We've got quite a few actually. Yeah, we have got quite a lot. So I suppose what we could actually do to actually let this happen a bit earlier is if we just do that. I think that should mess it up for us and get us into the broken case earlier. Yeah, such a shame that we lose that. So yeah, how do I detect this failing? Because what is the case actually? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to find this one. You know, sure, just counting them up. Oh, which we can do actually. Let's just do that. And I guess print it as well before it actually dies. So 12. So we get to 12. And then we die, so I think I've done that right every time. No. So I've written it, I've built it. Load. Okay, so we now want to step into the strings differ. Well, let's just check that this fails actually. Of course it doesn't. What are we actually testing here? So we're only implementing the test counter here. But we're not necessarily... Again, that isn't actually where I want to be doing that. So strings differ S. Oh, mind you, that also isn't going to get us to the right place. Okay, let's use the B pointer to take away the base, or take away the location. Right. So when this dies, so we don't have any of this garbage. So 8417. Yeah, I need to actually break on it. So does this fail? That doesn't fail. I'm not so sure what you're supposed to do then, actually. Because that's still... Well, hold on. Is it just the next time? No, it's not. I mean, is there ever... We never get back to there. 569. So bear with me a sec. I'm just going to ponder this. So yeah, I've had no insights. Let's just take a look at this error. Heap buffer overload address. It's a reader size 1 at this memory location. So it's in strings diff S 296. So it's trying to read. Yeah, I mean, essentially it's just trying to read past the end of the buffer. That's what's going on there. So we've got the string length of a null terminated thing, right? Because what we're saying is, it's this, right? It's the token comment multi-close. Right, token comment multi-close. It's this. So we're just saying that we've got a string that's 2 characters long. We've got a non-alternative. Yeah, I think actually this is broken because it just doesn't know when you're going over the end of the buffer. So yeah, I mean, I suppose what you need to do actually, rather than passing it a bald pointer like this, you probably actually have to pass it an actual buffer. And you say, from the location of the pointer in the buffer, make sure you're not going to actually go past the sides of it. Where do I use the strings differ? So I'm only using it in Tokenise. The strings differ S, I'm only using it in these few places here. So yeah, I'm just going to say that that's what you do. And you're always, it's always taking it with the B pointer. Yeah. So I'm going to fix the strings differ S to take a buffer instead. And we're going to be getting we're not going to actually increment the pointer itself, we're just going to get the pointer. Right, so we're going to be operating on the pointer. And while this and not null terminated, oh hang on, and right, that should do the trick, I think. I think basically because we're reading the files into buffer that we don't actually null terminate, we just don't bother. We just size it the size that it needs to be. And then all of these things simply go like this. And what is B actually? B is a pointer to a buffer. Perfect. Of course it is. Oops. Really, you don't know what a buffer is? Where's that? Initialize. It's initialized at 573. And this wants to check that there. Alright then. Fine. Oh no, that's too low. So with a bit of luck, that will fix that. If I can quit and Still need buffer overloading. In arresting. So strings diff s. In Tokenise it's the 314. So now it doesn't like that. Right. Yeah, because it's trying to dereference something that it can't. So it moves the pointer past the end of the buffer. This test then realises that it's past the end of the buffer, so it doesn't actually bother to do this check, which is what was failing. If I is equal to length, then we assume that we've got there. But if we haven't returned, I guess we just say if this, then we know that we can dereference this. Otherwise, we just say that it is the null. We just return the null terminated. I guess that's what you do. Yeah, just to make this a bit I think that's reasonable. And then if we have landed, well, hang on. If we've got the length here, we know that we've arrived at the null terminator, so we will return the 0. If we're within bounds, then we return that. If you haven't reached the length, then you'd be at something. Yeah, okay, so this will then, it won't return 0. Like, this will never dereference to 0 or to null. This will always evaluate to something that's non-zero, in which case I believe that the strings have differed, because otherwise the strings will, if we get here, the strings haven't differed basically. I think that's correct. So we're now not tying in strings diff or s. We now need to check if we increment this here. So strings diff, if it's a multi-open, then we're passing the comment. We go through all of these guys. We'll finally push the token and advance. Let's see what happens. It's possible this isn't 100% right. Basically, the bit that I'm not certain about is where will it be? This here, this incrementing of the B pointer here. I'm not sure if you need to check that we're still within the bounds here. So I guess if we don't crash, then I can assume that that's okay. So we're infinite looping. Not sure whether that should actually prevent us from infinite looping. No, we're infinite looping again. If the strings don't differ, we decrement the comment out, so we do this. We increment that by that. Otherwise, if with this and the pointer is that, increment the current line and increment that. Otherwise, if it's this, we increment the comment depth and move this along. Otherwise, we do this. Yeah, I really need a way to see what's actually going on, like which bits and bobs are actually happening. Oops. I might actually have the stack at this point, actually. I think of it. Ah, hang on. Do I have the stack still? I do have the stack, perfect. Alright, so what are we actually looping on here? Well, the B point to take away the B location is less than the B size. Oh, right. Yeah. So while the comment, so I see, we're infinite looping in here. Yeah, so we've given ourselves a comment, but we're just not able to get out. Try once more. So somehow we're actually parsing now. Might be worthwhile seeing exactly what we think we've got. We've got one person. Martins. Oh no, we've got a few people. We've got the root stuff here. We've got some people, and we've got Bitwise. We've got Bitwise's child, and that's it. So we don't have risky business. Is that what we would expect to see? So here we have some problem. Let me just see if that's mentioned. So we've got an unhandled character here. So we're saying that we don't handle this, we don't handle this. And then we pass in project bitwise. And then we're going to actually comment out this. And then we're going to close that comment, and then we open up a comment here. And having opened that comment, I think we just go right down to the bottom. So nothing else actually gets brought in. I wonder if we want to actually flag that up a bit more clearly. Because yeah, it is an unhandled character. But this plus this is equal to a token. If we're not in a comment, let me just see if I can handle that. So unhandled character ignored happens here. Alright, so there's only one place for this. Unhandled character ignored. I suppose the difficulty actually would be, well, no, it wouldn't. Advancing past the actual full thing. Where are we? Is this Tokenise still? Yeah. So it knows to advance. So what we've got here. Oh, actually, yeah. So what we're talking about is this. We only detect the comment multi-open at the top level. Right. The comment multi-close. Yeah, it's only known about in here. So basically, if we've erroneously got the comment multi-close out here, it kind of seems like all you need to do is set the advancement to be 2. And then when you get down here, well, that's going to, so this isn't else. Well, okay. So yeah, if you've got that out there, all you do is set the advancement to 2, and you actually output the error. Right here, I think, is what you would do. Let's just try that. So if we've got this, then you set the advancement to be 2. Oh, hang on. Do we actually push on the... We do push a token. T-type. Token null. Yeah. So we need to set the token type to be null, because we know we're dealing with an error, so we're not pushing that on. And then you do the error. What we're saying is, in the car, we're saying config warning on line, whatever the line is, of this file. And it's basically like a what is car actually exactly? Is that? It's just a string. Perfect. So let's say that we've got the string. Actually, where is that car actually specified? So it is just specified them right there. See if this works at all. Mismatch closing multi-line comment marker. On line 278. Let me just also put the space. Just run it again. Let me just try not advancing or setting advancement to set it to 1. Let's just see what happens. Hopefully we'll see the mismatch closing multi-line comment marker, and then hopefully we'll then see the error for this being unhandled. Hopefully. Yeah, unhandled character ignored. Perfect. So yeah, that's how you do that. Sorry, need to advance by 2. The token type is null because it's an error, so we're not pushing the token on. And then we just print the error. So yeah, mismatch closing multi-line comment marker, that on line 278. Is it on line 278? It is, perfect. So now hopefully people will see that that's being flagged up, and they'll be able to actually fix that error. So let's just remove this break here stuff. Remove this. And I think we're all fine. Now what is that doing? Exactly. Oh, I'll tell you what I think that was doing, which I think we need to handle actually. When I save this file, yeah, what's happening there is, because we're watching the directory that this thing is in, it's actually doing stuff. So the reason we're watching that is because the config file is in there. So yeah, it sort of seems like what we actually need to do is say, if we've got a config and the file that we're talking about actually is one of the files that is a config file. Then we go ahead and discard all and free config. Yeah, I think let's do that. Let's do that quickly and then let's go home. So, the config. So Tokenise pushes config watch handle. Everywhere that calls Tokenise, so we've got a file here, right? We're always going to be returning a token. So whenever we do this, so we do parse config tokens this. At this point we have the config available. And then if we go down into push into scope tokens, right, there's Tokenise happening, and you got your I. Right. I reckon at each of these two places here, this guy has the config available, doesn't it? It doesn't. Well, I mean, I suppose we just say that this guy has to take the config. This guy takes the config. And this guy passes the config to this guy when this guy calls it. I guess you just do that. And then you just have a list of files, basically, or a list of file names. The memory book as well, where does that come into it? That only comes into it in resolve variables, doesn't it? I think. In resolve string. Yeah, these extend string in book functions. There's your memory book. I guess you just do an extended string debug, I think. That's all you do. So, yeah. You're going to say push file onto config, basically push push string. Oh yeah, so we do a string list. What file is this? I think this is a regular proper file. So yeah, if you have a string list, yeah, string list count as a string. So all you want in the config is to push string onto the string list. And also, I actually want to say it's the base value of it. Get a base file name. And that is just going to return an actual string. So the get, yeah. It's only ever dereferencing that string. So why not? Who's calling push string? So only a few people are calling push string. Right, and then here, rather than having to kind of wrap the slash and then pass it by address, you just pass the actual, you just wrap 0 it in line. There you go, I think that's a bit less garbagey. Does anyone else in here do pushing? Yeah, nobody does it in there. So config, yeah, we need to make thingamajig past that. And then similarly here, this just returns a string. So you just get the base file name of the path, and you push that onto the file name string list. Oh, let's skip tokens. Oh, and also script tokens itself has to pass the config to itself. So it doesn't know about the type config. So it is defined here. That's happening on 5.18. Pass config happens way down there. We need to know about the config by now. Well, let's just stick this. I think you just stick it above the... We need the memory book. Projects. By the way, this doesn't need to happen. This project. So I'll just sort that out in a second. Support, and then what is this? Probably scoping tokens. Alright, so let's take these guys and just stick them above the tokenization. With a bit of luck, that's okay. No. It now wants a genre. String list has to be above there. Didn't we take the string list with us? What are these guys? Get numbering scheme from string. Get bool from string. Now we need push string, of course. That's in Cinera.c. Shouldn't this have been a problem before? Oh. Get base file name. Wait, what? So we've got an implicit declaration. Alright, finally we're building. So I've just maybe put this in a bit of a better place. Get base file name. So we'll expand path. Free, got the template stuff, got the database stuff, free buffer, configure size. Print string is there. Strings match. Let's put it among the strings thing. Let's just put it below strings match. Careful that builds, he does. Alright, so now when we free the config, we also need to make sure that we actually free the string list. We do have that function. File. What do you call it? File names. Perfect. Let's double check what this does. Free and reset counts. See, it does that and that. Yep, I reckon that's fine. Oops. Alright, so when we pass the we've done this. If we've got one, let me just say print the strings first of all. Possibly something like that. No. And of course we want to point it to a string for some reason. Pretty sure this doesn't give us any line, no. I wonder if it'd be worthwhile just making print string, just take the string straight up. But that's for something another day. So after we've done the config, print the file names. And just leave it 4 so we can actually see it. Right. So I just went to the 0 page input string, so here we go. 768 push string. Oh. Hang on. Yeah, we haven't actually... we haven't actually initialized the config yet. That's unfortunate. Because it's only in... So the Tokenise happens here. That's still nothing. Yeah, that's true. It's only down at resolve variables that we've actually got this. I mean, it might just be easier to not bother putting in the config and just putting it separately. So we've got like a global string list. Yeah, the thing about this actually is the token needs to get freed. So in pushing a string, this path here, it returns the tokens. Yeah, these actually need to be resolved into somewhere first. Don't they? Yeah, that wouldn't cut the mustard at all. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like the easiest things to do. Push a config watch handle. Hold on a second, don't we just have this information? So after we've done all the parsing of the config, if we've got that, don't do this, just print out the watch handles. All I'm trying to see, yeah, it's just them. It's those fuckers there. This and this is what I'm talking about. So I'm effectively saying if we've got a config and the strings match one of these two people, right? So for all of the watch handles, loop over the watch handles. If it is the type WT config, and it's not the first one, then this would pass the test, basically. Okay, yeah, so that's all it is, actually. So I beg your pardon, we don't need to do any of this garbage. Pushing strings, making it take the config, any of that nonsensical stuff. Oh, actually, yeah, we rejigged all sorts, didn't we? Let's actually undo it. Undo the garbage that we did. Kind of unfortunate, but whatever. Alright, so that's where that was. So where was Cinera.c now? I think that was there. Alright. So yeah. If we've got the config, and essentially like um, okay, if it is a watched config file, sorry, that's not right, is it? We're going to be getting the event name is already the base file name, so we need to be saying when we're testing against these, we only need to be sort of talking about the base file name. Handle path. Handle I path. Okay. So what we want to do is to wrap that first of all. Doesn't like something. Watch handles counts. Oh, and also we want to say we're not talking about the first one, because the first one is always the directory which contains these guys. So I think that's it actually. Let's see if this is anywhere close to being correct. If I save this now, it shouldn't trigger the rebuild. Perfect. Or if I save this, it should do. Yay. Alright, so I think we've nailed it. Double check. Yeah, it does nothing. Is it a watched config file? Oh, actually, if the strings differ, we also need to know what type it was. So let's just pass it the event. exactly? Isn't I notify events? I think it comes in as a pointer, doesn't it? So, here we go. This is more like it. Oh, hold on. That's not actually what we want. We want to be talking about whatever these things are. Case WT asset. Oh, now I think about it, actually. Oh no, yeah. So yeah, watch handles type. Yeah, sorry, we just need to test on this. If the watch handle that we're talking about, if the type is a WT config, that's what we need to say. So back that out again. That's what you need to say. Just to make sure that we're actually 100% dealing with the right people. So that won't. This hopefully will. It does. Perfect. Alright, so I'm not going to do the config printing today because I need to go and eat. Spent long enough doing that. 3 hours almost. Yeah, so we've done the full privacy checks. And I guess we've done some other stuff. We fixed the tokenizer. And some other stuff that we can't remember really, I think. But anyway, yeah, that'll do for now. And the next time it's going to be the config printing, I reckon. I'm going to break here, there. That's an old one. There's nothing in there. Yeah, this is the multi-line comment marker. Yeah, alright. So if I've missed anything, then we'll pick it up next time. But anyway, thank you very much, Ears and Heroines, for being here, for being beautiful, for being fantastic, and most of all, for being private. Until next time. Farewell for now.